I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello.
How's everyone doing? I don't know.
I'm great. How are you?
I don't know. I'm going to fucking move around here because I'm stuck beside the boozer, lads. How's everyone keeping? I'm not moving around. This is a fantastic boozer here in Oranmore, County Galway. Oh, perfect. Made for me. Out of the elements. How's everyone doing? Welcome to For the Love of Pomegranate podcast. As you guys come on a drinking tour of Oranmore with me. I'm going to have to hunch down. I hope this is okay.
I don't know if everyone can hear Neil or not. I'm having a few issues hearing him, so you might give us a thumbs up and let us know if Neil's sound is okay in real life.
Yeah.
I can hear you now, yeah?
Yeah, you can hear me there now. Perfect. Jesus Christ, Matt Hanlon, thank you so much for that. See, there's a ton of 100 Christ on a bike. Thanks very much for that, Matt. That's superb. That's absolutely incredible. We never do a podcast after this. That's been absolutely fantastic. Really, really great stuff. Wow. But anyway, we do have to do a podcast, Paddy. Aston Villa versus Arsenal today at 5:30, and I'm fucking buzzing for it. Absolutely buzzing.
I'm not sure if anyone can hear you. I can hear some bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Did somebody say they can hear you all right?
Yeah, the guy said some of the guys there said they could hear me.
Okay, that's good.
2 seconds. You talk and I'll go. Give me a
second. We should be any second now hearing the team announcement, so we'll crack on. As you can hear, Neil is in a quiet spot in a pub, so we'll do our best to get as much out of this as we possibly can. In the meantime, I do have a team, so I'm going to call it out for you now. We have Emiliano Martinez, our new contract signing, Emiliano Martinez, Cash, Konza, Pau Torres, Luca Dean, Onana, Tielemans, McGinn, Bailey, Rogers, and Oliver Watkins. So we have an exact replica of what went out last week, which is great. The subs, I'll run through them quickly. Joe Gauci, Diego Carlos, Ian Matson, Costa Nedeljkovic, Ross Barkley, Emi Buendia, Jaden Philogene Bades, Jacob Ramsey, and Jean Duran.
Everything exactly the same, so... Yeah.
Pardon?
Everything exactly the same, so as last week. Everything exactly the same.
Did we have Diego Carlos on the bench last week?
We did. Yeah, we did.
Right.
Yeah, wasn't used. Yeah, look, I'll be honest, I had a bit of a tip-off about an hour ago that the team was going to be exactly the same. Rare that we get them, but I did have it, and I think to be fair, you don't... Like, there was talks maybe Barnett could have came in the bench. There was talks potentially that the Cash was out. We were told Cash was out during the week, and it's not the case, so happy as a pickle shit with that, to be honest with you. You'd have to be like...
I only got half of that there, Neil, but yeah, it's I suppose the main talking point here is that we've got Ollie Watkins getting more minutes under the belt, hopefully a little bit sharper than he was last week. The other talking point is that Matty Cash was obviously a doubt, but he's there. We really shouldn't be changing teams that played so well last week, I suppose. And you can't but argue with you can't argue with what he's done here by running with the same team, because for that first half hour until the penalty decision, we were absolutely bossing that game, and we were very fluid. We were quick in transition. It was a joy to watch. So hopefully more of that again today.
I think, Paddy, I think we'll go to cross camera here. It might make it easier for you and see does this make a difference. But yeah, I think very much so that like today is going to be a different kettle of fish as well from the point of view that playing at home as well. The handbrake might be a bit more off. And I know we're playing against Arsenal as well, but I think like that for the first 30 minutes, that the handbrake is going to be off in this game. I think we're going to go for it because I think, being so early in the season and once again, Villa having what they have in reserve on the bench, I think there's no harm in doing that. So it'll be really interesting to see what that first 30 minutes looks like it was against West Ham at the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And you do sound much better for me anyway, the way you are. You'd have to think that we're going to we're going to really go for this today because there's been a lot of talk about what what Mikel Arteta had to say earlier in the week, which can only fuel the fire for us. I'm looking forward to seeing how we continue on what we did last week, and I'm buzzing for that team. We've got plenty of reserve on the bench to change things up should things become difficult, or if we need to just freshen it up to go for the jugular. So we saw what the subs could do off the bench last week, and we can't help but be enthused today.
Yeah, I think that's 100% it because the reason that Unai Emery wanted to strengthen the squad this season was so that we could do that. And I know a lot of the players that came in weren't going to affect our first team, our first 11, but it's not that. It's that effect for the last 25 minutes, that last half an hour. We didn't have that last year for a vast majority of the season because of injuries, but now we have it. We even have bullets in reserve and the likes of Kamara and Mings to come in there. And I had a good conversation with a lovely gentleman I have a very big long DM thread with on Twitter, and he actually pointed it out to me. He goes, think how strong our bench is now and how strong our bench will be when they come back, and if we get an extra signing or two before the end of the season. So Villa are ticking along nicely at the minute, and that's why I mentioned about going balls to the wall in the first 30 minutes and seeing what happens. So hopefully that is the case, and hopefully Villa go out and kind of stake a marker early in the season. That would be nice.
Wouldn't it just we spoke before, probably amongst ourselves, and saying things like if we got a win or we got just 2 points out of these first two games, that we'd be happy and it's something to build on. But coming through this today with a result would be absolutely immense, and it would make the rest of the world stand up and have a look at what we're doing here, because we've got great depth in the squad, as you say. There's the likes of we know that there's been a quicker recovery than expected on Boubacar Kamara. Tyrone Mings is not too far away. So all of this considered, we're going to have one hell of a squad within a couple of weeks.
Yep, absolutely, and that's been the modus operandi for Unai Emery, as I say. Look, and fans, me included, are well within their rights to turn around and say, yeah, but we'd like one big marquee, to come in and be a fella that comes in and just kind of blows something apart in that first 11 and strengthens the competition within that first 11, and that's a very valid point, as I said. But the week is young this week, should I say, because after next week we know who we have up until January, and that's the case, as I nearly fall off a chair here. But Paddy, you don't by any chance have the Arsenal team or the Arsenal subs there by any chance, do you? So that we can take a look at them, because I see somebody in the comments there said that our bench is likely stronger than Arsenal's, which has to be admired if that is the case.
Yeah, well, it's strong enough. There's capabilities there to go and change things. We'll run through the team from the start anyway. So they got Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, and Timber. They've got Rice, Partey, Odegaard, Martinelli, Saka, and Havertz. So I think that's more or less as expected. Apart from Timber, I think that's his first start. Would that be correct? The one change.
Timber busting.
Timber for Zinchenko. Yeah. So on the bench, then they've got Ramsdale, Zinchenko, Kiwior, Calafiori, Jorginho, Nelson, Nwaneri, Trossard, and Nketiah.
Yeah, I'd go so far as to say that on name basis anyway, we've got a bench that has has more household names, I suppose, more so than that bench. Like obviously, look, that kid Nawari is they absolutely love him at Arsenal. Like he's untouchable apparently. Eddie Nketiah mightn't be there this time next week, but he's on the bench. And Trossard's going to come on and cause us massive amounts of trouble. But like the big thing for me is we've got a strong left side, and they've got a really strong right side. And for me, I think that's where the battle is won and lost. If our left side can pin them back and keep Ben White back and make sure that the Saka has to come back and do a small bit more defending, and if we are on the front foot and that side more than they are, well then I think that we're quids in. That's really for me where the battle is going to be won. Yes, there's going to be an awful lot around the middle of the field. Odegaard is going to be very, very busy. Did you say Declan Rice was playing, Paddy?
He is, yeah, and Party.
He is, yeah. Because I know that Declan Rice had a calf injury, and there was talks it was going to be out. But like that middle of the field is going to be very competitive as well, because like gone are the days, I suppose, where you're kind of wondering what their two hulks in Partey and Declan Rice are going to do. We know of Amadou and Onana in there, and that's going to be a really, really interesting matchup there to see how the two of them bounce off each other at corners, even at least. I'm really looking forward to seeing that too.
Yeah, I think the matchup in midfield is going to be really, really interesting because we've got Onana in there. I'm interested to see the job that he does on Odegaard, because in my opinion, you stop Odegaard, you make a huge impression on this Arsenal team, and you reduce that outlet. If he can get tied to Odegaard and keep him out of the game, I think there's a good chance we'll get something out of this today. So, having said that, it could go anyway. But it's for me, I'm enthused by the lineup. I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to this one. I think it's a good measure of where we are. But when we look back at this game, it'll tell the world where we're at. I suppose with the squad that we have, because that's about as strong as we can get. And I personally, I'm expecting a win today. Now that's how excited I am about this. So I would slap your hand off for a draw, but I'm going to go 2-1 win today.
And you went with 2-1 last time, so therefore we're not going to break a winning record, and I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw, because that's what the two of us went for last week. So if you go with 2, and if it turns out a 2-1 win, I will be probably shirtless, swinging out of the top of the window in of that old wall of Galway there in their square, come about 7:30. So if anybody's in Galway or anybody can get to Galway for about 7:30, you'll probably see me committing some sort of antisocial behaviour at some stage, if Villa win. So there could be a bottle of champagne cracked open and video taken of it just for the fucking crack. We'll see. Because I think
it could be a very interesting post-match, given the fact that I can't hear you too well now. What's it going to be like when you're rowdy with a few more points of the black stuff in you?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I was going to say, Paddy. I think the post-match podcast might be postponed. It might be a postponed post-match podcast, unless I can find somewhere that's really quiet, because I'm in a neck-a-wee spot here, which is also cancelling out my headphones as well. So I know what the issue is. I just can't fix it where I am, unfortunately. But yeah.
Well, look. Either way, we if we don't come back after the game, we can go again tomorrow, maybe tomorrow evening, and get a good run at it. Then, don't normally miss it. Well, you don't normally miss a Team Sheet Tantrum or a post match. I do from time to time, but I'm sure people won't begrudge you a good night out tonight, Neil, especially if we go and beat Arsenal.
God be with the days when we used to watch them in Taffs, and I go over to the church, St. Nicholas's Church, and go into the back porch of the church and do the podcast from inside there. But I don't know. I think they locked the church probably because of me now. So that won't happen tonight anyway. That's for sure. Come here, Paddy. I'm actually going to let you go here because I can see my internet is going in now. That could be an issue as well. So I don't know if, because I've seen a couple of people saying there that they can't really hear me. So I might leave you guys if that's all right, because I don't want the whole thing to drop because of me. But as I say, I'm going with 1-1. I think this is going to be really, really a really competitive encounter today. And as I say, I think it's going to be blood and thunder. I hope Michael Oliver is an afterthought in this one, and I will go before I get your gander up in that one. But I hope he's an afterthought in this one, and I hope it's just kind of won cleanly or lost cleanly or drawn cleanly or whatever the case is. So up the Villa. I'm going to leave you at that, guys.
Perfect. Chat to you later on, hopefully.
Talk to you later, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Now, I'm glad that you guys are saying in the comments you could hear Neil, because I couldn't hear him at all. So apologies for that. You get gremlins like that when one of us is on location, let's say. I'm not going to run through your predictions because I haven't got the voice range that Neil has for throwing them out there. But thanks very much for listening in. I hope it wasn't too messy or noisy for you. Many thanks to Matt Halloran, who donated all of those incredible amount of memberships. Thank you so much, Matt. Really, really appreciate it, and I thank you on behalf of everybody that picked up those memberships today. Get yourself together. Enjoy your Saturday evening. I've changed my name to Neil Dunmore too here on the screen. Apologies again for the shorter and obviously the disjointed one, but thanks so much for everything. Get yourself settled and ready for the match, and we'll may or may not get back to you after the game, but otherwise we will come to you tomorrow evening and we'll do a decent review show. But thanks again. Stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.